What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what moved in, go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close 1.82% in the green, 12.37 the low, 12.91 the high. So for those of you that kind of followed my pre-market video, I did state that there is a good likelihood that SoFi was going to recover throughout the day and close between these 2 points. So this S2 and the $13 mark. Reason why I say 13 is because of options. So I think SoFi did do fairly well over the last 5 days, up 5.35%. No news, no SEC filings today, no insider selling. So always a good thing to see in that capacity. But even on a larger standpoint, no real data points that came out today. So it was just more volatility due to the witching day. And then aside from that, just a lot of fear. I think a lot of that fear did roll over from yesterday, just people still digesting Powell. But there is a lot of analysts starting to come out stating that they see higher highs in the broader market and that essentially on a larger scale, we did bottom out, at least momentarily. So I think that gave a nice level of optimism to the broader market, enough so that shorts with SoFi and many other stocks that I kind of looked at, they all returned. So today shorts did return 674,000 shares, 12.24% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 131.86 million shares overall are being shorted. And this right now was happening to the cost to borrow average and minimum. That's very unique. I've not seen it this high in a while. So meaning brokers are kind of taking a step back at doing what they do for manipulation. How I see that, or why they might be doing that, is that they do truly see more upside on a larger scale. So again, a lot of optimism is starting to flow through the broader market. So yeah, if you believe that SoFi is a deal at this stage and you've been kind of second guessing or wanting to maybe average down or buy more, right now might be the time. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, looking at options, 9.74 million in calls, 3.15 in puts, 57% of all the options being done today were optimistic in nature, and no real massive outliers, pretty consistent throughout the day. As far as the overall volume, 12.8 million in total premiums, 11 the day prior, 15 the day prior to that. So nothing really crazy. So let me know kind of your thoughts. And for those of you that did tune into my video yesterday, I did state that based on the put/call ratio, historically, that does result in a green day today, and as well, so that's why it's good to kind of follow the data points. Don't get so emotional, hyped up. If you kind of read the data and what big institutions are doing behind the scenes, cuts out the BS. But based on the call options that were purchased, there's a consensus going into next week for it to be 13 to 13.50. Bears for it to be sub roughly 11.50 to 12. With today being a Friday, you did have a grand total of 76,000 in the money options. So unfortunately, with it closing at 12.89, the 13,000 and above do expire worthless. That's kind of the downside of doing options, but still 76,000 is a pretty good thing. So let me know your thoughts on that. I'm sure a lot of that was already covered because a lot of that is kind of the lower strike prices, but you still should see a nice bump up come Monday, similar to what happened this week as well. On Monday, we had a nice push higher on Monday, kind of sets the kind of momentum for the rest of the day. So something to keep in mind. These are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you are seeing a lot of big institutions buy, and that's just because rebalancing. I think I accidentally stated in the video yesterday that somehow like today was the last day in Q1. I think I don't know what I was kind of thinking. So you'll see probably an increase in institutional transactions over the next week as obviously Q1 does conclude. So that's where they'll be rebalancing. But even looking after hours today, you do see a lot of big transactions being done, such as 2.4, 1 million, 1 million, a lot of $1 million transactions, 6.6. So some of this could be rebalancing. Some of this could be market makers already covering those options. But yeah, definitely a good thing. 43.1 million, and then throughout the day you had a big one as well, 3.6. These are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. So a couple of recent ones as well, roughly about 30 minutes ago, 1.2, 1.2, and then 1 million. So let me know your viewpoint on that, on big money really getting behind SoFi today, and just the level of optimism. But with it closing at $12.87, successfully above this S2, so $12.72 is going to be a strong support. Just watch for that to hold into the next couple trading days. Flip side, $13.59 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And I feel like just the market wants to take SoFi back to that $13 to $17 range, as I've been kind of stating for the last couple of weeks. But today there was no actual like news or anything like that. No new analyst ratings. So last one that did come out was right over here. So last analyst rating was, drumroll, was that 14 days ago. So 13 and then 18 or $8 price targets. So I think it's kind of long past due that we get some more, so hopefully something does come out sooner rather than later. But aside from that, it is what it is. I think just piggybacking off the broader market, and nothing wrong with that. But with it at $12.89, it is right now above the ALMA, so $12.47. Next strong target is basically that 50 and 100-day moving averages right here, so that's at 14.59 and then 14.53. So next week could get very interesting, where you see it bouncing off of that, which feasibly might be the next kind of step, right? It bounced off of this 200-day moving average. Next stop would be here. And given how much it's ran up, potentially, it most likely will bounce off of that, consolidate, and move higher. But let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been kind of generally doing with SoFi? And have you been dabbling with options during this time period when it did touch that like $10, $11 range? For those of individuals that did buy call options, that's how you make some real money in the market. Yes, buying stocks is all fun, exciting, but for those of you when there's like massive blood, it looks like the world is ending, if you buy call options and you have a good like commitment to whatever stock, even if it's outside of SoFi, that's actually how you make some very decent money. So just take some time, research options, do what you need. I know like obviously a lot of people don't do options, but just take the time. It does better yourself as an investor, in my opinion. Hopefully everyone has an amazing weekend ahead of them. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.